I'm Karen Wooten with Big Wand, and I'm talking to the House Majority Leader, Congressman Eric Cantor, out of District 7 out of Virginia. And really what I want to find out from you today is we hear a lot of the chaos, it seems like, that is going on between the House, the Senate. Can we come together? And what's going on with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, let's start with ObamaCare, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are wondering what in the world is going on with this law, given that it's only a couple days since the opening of the websites and the exchanges, and frankly, they're not working too well. And in fact, I know that folks have tried to get on and been kicked off the website. And our position's always been this bill and this law is not the direction for us to take. Even the Obama administration has agreed that it's not ready for prime time in many aspects. And all we're saying is, you know what, don't make people suffer because this law is not ready. We're asking simply to waive the tax on anybody who just can't even get into the exchanges. Because that's really what's happening right now. People are trying to get their health care, and if you don't get your health care, you have to pay a tax. So our position has been plain and simple. Waive that tax, just like the administration has done for big business and special interests. So, you know, again, we feel very strongly, as I know, Karen, you do, about this law not being the right direction for this country. In a larger discussion that's going on right now with the lack of government funding and the shutdown and the debt ceiling, we have something that I think is even bigger than the individual issues that are in discussion. It's really about sort of the constitutional balance of power here. You know, we have seen sort of this situation brewing now for several years. This president, I know, would rather have an instance like he did in 2009 and 2010 where his party controlled all of Capitol Hill. But it's not that way now. The voters of this country put the Republicans in charge of the House of Representatives, and we have a divided government. And in fact, the framers of our Constitution, those Virginians, those 18th century and 19th century Virginians that went about trying to forge and build America, they operated off of a Constitution that was written with tension in mind between the branches of power.
And with a balance.
And a balance of power. And the notion that somehow we have these two existing branches, three, but two that are in this discussion, if they're under different control, you should have discussions. And what this president has continued to say was he doesn't want to negotiate. Well, I don't think that that's a tenable solution. I don't think the American people expect, if you have divided power, for us not to talk. And we're trying to drive this president to the negotiating table so that American people can see the differences and then we can bridge those differences.
So talk to me a little bit about the continuing resolutions that you have passed in the House that have gotten to the Senate, but they haven't really gone anywhere.
Well, we have taken a position very clearly that we believe no special treatment for anybody under the law. And our continuing resolutions have said to this president and his administration, look, you've granted special treatment to big business, to special interests, and in fact, there is a provision his administration promulgated that allows special treatment for members of Congress. And we don't believe that anybody ought to have special treatment under the law. So we said, if you're going to fund the government, let's make sure there's no special treatment under Obamacare, no special treatment under the law.
And I would tell you probably all Americans would agree with you. They would. What about the veterans? I know I was sitting in on the House last night when you had a vote around the FDA. Right. So how many continuing resolutions have you sent?
Well, I mean, this is really the crux of the issue here, is the president really has said, I'm not negotiating, it's my way or the highway. And we've always said, look, there's a lot more that we agree on than we disagree. So if you're not going to agree with us on this no special treatment and simple fairness under the law for everyone, then at least let's fund the parts of the government that we agree on. And so we put bills across the floor that fund the FDA. We funded the NIH to allow sick children who want access to clinical trials to be able to have the access there. We put forward bills to fund the Head Start education program. We put forward bills that fund the programs for the poor and pregnant women. We have a lot we believe in common, but yet what you're seeing is Harry Reid in the Senate takes that position, no negotiating, no way unless it's my way, and that's really what's not sustainable here.
So how do we fix it?
Well, we fix it by getting together to talk, and I believe what we've just found out is this president has called the speaker and has indicated he doesn't want to negotiate around a debt ceiling, but he is willing to talk about the differences that we have in so many other areas. And I hope that that's an indication that we can finally come off of this no negotiation never that the president has put out there and actually begin to roll up our sleeves, sit down, and begin to bridge the differences that divide this country.
Well, I want to thank you, Congressman Cantor, because I know you've been very busy for days now trying to fix the problem. And I appreciate everything that you do for everybody in your district and being the leader of the House. I appreciate what you're doing for Americans. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, we thank you, and I know there are a lot of readers of Big Wand across the Commonwealth as well as the country, and we wish you much success and really enjoy the forum that you provide for a lot of debate.
Thank you.